Hello friends. Today we have to discuss about the subject of SP. Already you will learn in the 11th different basics terms in these subjects. Today we have started our first chapter, which are the very much important for the 12th examination. All the syllabus are depend upon these chapters, corporate finance. This topic I have divided into three parts. Today, we have to discuss the first part, meaning and importance of corporate finance. Myself, Paresh Sangvikar, BYK College of Commerce, Nasik. Let's see this site. Business finance. Here there are two words are there, business and finance. In 11th, we are already discussed about the business, the types of business. In this syllabus of the 12th, we are basically focused on the finance. Let's see corporate finance. This is our first chapter, corporate finance. Here there are two words, corporate and finance. Before we know that what is meant by the corporate finance, just we have to discuss first a meaning of finance. What is meant by finance? Finance means a money, which is related with money and money management. Basically, this word we are using everywhere. Whenever we require the money, basically we are using that. Can you give me the finance? But it doesn't mean that the finance is only a money. Money and money management. What is meant by management? Whenever there is a scarcity of a money or ample of money, we have to manage well. It is called the management. Afterward, again, we will discuss about that. Basically, in the corporate finance, there are two words, corporate and finance. What is meant by the corporate? The corporate is a big deal trading finance, or we can say that the big business houses. Suppose if you have a money, you can use that money whenever we required. Same as per whenever a business empire required money, where from where they will collect, it is called a finance. Before we learn about the corporate finance, we must understand the finance. Definitely, finance is a blood of the business. Without blood, we cannot do anything. Same as per, without finance, the company or any business cannot run. So that much importance of that finance is. Let's see one example. Suppose you and your two or three friends want to go for a party, and one of the your friend is not ready because of they don't have a money. What happened? Definitely one of the friend told you, that don't worry, my friend, I will give the finance. It means whenever there is a scarcity of money, if you have taken money from any other sources or from any other person, it is called a finance. But whenever we are think about the corporate finance, means a big budget. Already we have learned the different types of business: sole trading concern, partnership firm, joint into family business, and joint stock company. Here, corporate means a big budget houses. It means that it is example of a joint stock company. It means any business deals with the raising and using of finance by a business. It deals with financing activity at the business, corporation, capital structuring, and making investment. It deals with financing activity. What type of financing activity? From where we have to collect the capital, from where we have to collect the money. It is called a financing activity. Capital structure. Capital structure, from where we have to collect the capital, whether we have to collect the capital from the members, whether we want to issue the shares, whether we want to collect the money or borrowed the money from the bank, relatives, like that. And which are the most important? Making investment decisions. Whatever we have collected, it should be returned, or we can say that it should be properly managed. It is called the investment decisions. Let's see the definition. Definition of the corporate finance. According to Henry Hoagland, corporate finance deals primarily with the acquisition and use of capital. Acquisition and use of capital by the business corporation. These three words are very much important in this definition. Acquisition. What is meant by acquisition? Acquisition means acquire whatever we have purchased, whatever we have received. It is called acquisition. For example, suppose a bank, you have taken the loan from the bank. It is also called acquisition. Suppose you have issued the shares. You have issued the shares. It means that we are talking about the joint stock company. If the company issue the shares to the public, it is also the acquisition of the capital. So corporate finance deals primarily with the acquisition, whatever we have received, whatever we have purchased, whatever we have issued, it is called the acquisition. And use of capital, whatever we have received the capital, where we have to use, whether it is in a good manner, whether we have whenever we have invested, whether the effect of that capital is definitely on profit basis, what is the rate of capital. This all are depend, all are included in the use of capital by the business corporation. It means that whatever the business corporation has received or acquired the different types of assets by using the capital, it is called a corporate finance. Understood? It may be possible in the board examination, this definition will be asked for the 2 marks, and you should write down in whatever, or you should write down in proper way. These are the sources of capital. The company can issue the equity shares. The company can take a loan. It is called a debt capital or borrowed money. The company can give the credit to their supply, their customers. It is called a trade credit. And initially, internally generated funds. This is called the source of capital, which was company collected. Basis of corporate finance. There are 2 bases of a corporate finance. We can easily say that they are the pillars of the organization. First one, financial decisions. Basically, any business cannot run without finance. So the financial managers must take a decision about the financial decisions. What is meant by financial decision? How many finance are required to run the business? It is called a financial decision. Whether it is for a 10 lakh, whether it is a 50 lakh, whether it is a 5 crore or more than that. It is called the financial decisions. In that financial decisions, I have told already, first one, which are the most important, is the financial need. What is the need of the organization? How many amount are required to start a organization? How many amount are required to run the organization? How many amount of capital required to fulfill all the needs of the organization? It is called a financial need. For that financial need, what are the multiple choices to fulfill the financial need? Suppose one of the organizations has set a goal to collect the capital of rupees 5 crore. Now, what are the sources from where you have to collect the capital? These are the sources. They can collect the capital from friends and relatives, but it is not possible nowadays. The friends and relatives are not ready to give the capital. Most of the things, whenever we are thinking about the joint stock company, the joint stock company always taken a decision whether they have to collect the capital from the equity shares, debentures, or deposits. What is meant by equity shares? Your capital is converted into number of shares. It is called equity shares. Suppose your capital is rupees 5 crore. If you want to issue the share of rupees 100, it means that you have to issue the 5 lakh equity shares of rupees 100 each, and you can collect the capital. But basically, in that decision making, the fund manager or the financial manager always taken a decision from own capital and borrowed out capital, they have to definitely eye on a own capital as well as the borrowed capital. What is mean by own capital? The capital which is introduced by the shareholder, it is called the own capital. Borrowed capital, the capital which is introduced by the borrowed person, means they have taken the money from outsiders. It means that the debentures, depositors, they are not the owners of the company. They have just invest their money for the interest. It is means that the financial decisions are depend upon the inflow of the corporation. Whatever inflow आपके पास जो आएगा, this is called the inflow of decisions. So financial decisions is definitely depend upon the inflow. Second, investment decision. This is the second pillar of the corporate finance, investment. Investment means utilization of your fund. आपके पास पैसा आ गया, you have collected the capital, but how you invest, whether you have invested in fixed capital, whether you have invested in working capital, the fund manager must think about, and they have to take a decision in a systematic manner to use this capital. Not only systematic manner, but whatever you have invest, it should be return maximally. What is mean by return? It is depend upon the profitability. If you invest in fixed capital, all these things, you don't have a working capital, your business cannot run. So maximum return of the capital is also one of the most important decision of a second pillar, investment decision. Cost of capital. What is cost of capital? Whenever we have invested, whether returns are returned from that capital, it is called the cost of capital. These two pillars are most important about the corporate finance. Whenever we are to learn this corporate finance, you must know that the two pillars of that corporate finance, financial decision and investment decision. Financial decisions are the inflow of the organization, and investment decisions are the outflow of the organizations. Now we turned about the importance of the corporate finance. Why the corporate finance are very much important? Because without blood, we cannot do anything. Without finance, we cannot do anything. First one, helps in decision making. If you have a finance, it is very easy to take a decision about investment. It is depend upon availability of funds. If you don't have a money, you are very much hesitated to take a decision because you don't have a money. And if you have a sufficient funds, then you can easily take a decision about fixed capital, about working capital. Whenever you have taken a decision about that, definitely impact of profitability you should learn. You must know the how much profitability of your decisions. And whenever the all points must be there, you have a ample of funds, you have think about the profitability, then you should go or you should give the green signal to the project. Whenever a new project you want to establish, your first pillar is most important. What are the inflow of the organization? If your inflow is perfect, then you can easily take a decision as per your choice, so that the decision making is one of the most important part of the importance of corporate finance. Look at this picture. Decision making. In the decision making, there are different points are there. What are the alternatives? What are the uncertainty? Whether that decision there is a high risk or not. This type of. So whenever you have to take a decisions, you have to think about that. But whenever if you have a ample of funds, your burden is definitely a less. Second, helps in raising capital for a project. First pillar. Whenever you want to start a new business, your main motive, your main object is to collect the capital first. Because if you don't have a capital, you cannot use it. So you have to take a decision from where we have to collect, which alternatives is beneficial to the business, whether issue of shares, issue of debentures, issue of bonds, or it is easy to take a loan from bank. Again, there are source of capital. These are the sources of capital from we have to raising our funds. If you want to issue the shares, your own capital is increased. If you issue the debentures, your borrowed capital will increase. If you issue the bonds, again your borrowed capital increase. If you have taken the loan from the bank, again your borrowed capital. So the financial manager should be think about the own capital and borrowed capital while raising the capital for the project. This is if you have a first pillar perfect, then it is very easy for you to collect the capital. Helps in research and development. If you want to grow your organization, if you want to expand your organization, definitely the corporate funds helps, because nowadays if you want to expand your organization from one city to another city, one state to another state, one nation to another nation, definitely your finance is plays a important role. If your product and you are not in market survey, if you are not doing the market survey, you are not doing the research in your product, it may be harmful for your organization. Whenever you develop your product, the research and development plays a very important role. If you continue with your same product for a long period of time, your sales definitely will be decline because you are not prepared for the R&D, research and development. So that in here also the finance is plays an important role, because if you want to research, you have to spend very much ample of or part of finance to that department. Then they will research and they will give the development process. The corporate finance helps in smooth running of business. How your business will run smoothly whenever the worker or the employees are satisfied, because you are not only one person to run all these things. It is not possible in joint stock company. So that if you have pay the salary on time, then your employee will be satisfied and they will give the support, as well as you will pay interest whatever we have taken. It means that you have to pay the interest on borrowed capital on the regular basis. How it is possible? Because of the corporate finance. If you have a corporate finance, you can pay the salaries easily, you can pay the interest of loan easily. Not only salaries and interest, but also if you have a finance, if you have a corporate finance, then you can easily purchase the raw material, because raw material is one of the most important. If you don't have a raw material, you cannot, production is going on. So that this is the one of the most important. It means that the corporate finance helps in smooth running of business. Bring a coordination between various activities. In a company, there are ample of departments out there: human resources, sales and marketing, research and development, production, ample of them. But every department is connected with the finance. The coordination between the different department, if their coordination is good, then definitely there will be success. For example, suppose a production department required a raw material. So they have to contact with the finance department. If the finance department have a ample of money, they will directly give the sanction. If not, sanction will not be there. If sanction is not given, production will be stopped. So because of corporate finance, it brings coordination between the various activities. Next, promotes expansion and diversification. Just we have already explained. Expansion. Expansion means if you want to expand your organization from one place to another place, one city to another city, maybe one nation to another nation, you have to purchase a modern machineries as well as the techniques. How it is possible? Because of finance. If you don't have an ample of money, how it is possible to purchase a modern machinery and techniques? Corporate finance gives or helps for the expansion as well as the diversification. What is mean by diversification? A multiple product of your company. For example, nowadays Reliance has a multiple products. Geo Fiber, Geo phones. Now agriculture departments are there. It is a diversification. They are not deal in only one product. They are deals in multiple products. How it is possible? Because they have a finance. They have collected the first pillar, which are most important to collect the finance. Managing risk. Definitely a business without risk, the business cannot do it. You have to take the risk. Risk, various types of risk are there. It may be possible the sudden fall in sell because of the COVID-19. Most of the shares are declined position. Maybe there are the natural calamities like earthquake, floods, strikes, etc. Whenever this happens, if the corporate finance are available, whenever the finance are available, they can manage all these things. Even though fall in sales, no problem. They can wait for 2 or 3 months because they have a finance. Whenever there is a strike, your production is totally stopped. If the production is totally stopped, then how you can pay the salaries? How you can pay the interest? If you have a corporate finance with you, you can easily manage all risk so that the corporate finance helps for managing a risk. Nowadays in COVID-19, from last 1 year, most of the companies are totally stopped. Those companies who have a ample of finance, they are in a good position. Others nowadays are not in a good position because of finance. They cannot manage well the finance. Those who have invest their finance in a proper way, they can manage all the managing risk. Payment of dividend and interest. I told already that we are thinking about the joint stock company. If I want to invest my money into the any organization, which organization I have selected? Those organization who gives the dividend or interest regularly. So to pay the dividend and interest to the creditors and banks and tax of government regularly, definitely the shares value of that organization will be increased. It is depend upon the finance. If they finance well, the first pillar collect the finance, and second one is utilize the finance well, definitely they can pay the dividend and interest regularly, as well as the taxes to the government. It is all are because of the sufficient finance. Replace old assets. I have given the example of old machines, which is to be replaced by computerized machine when it is possible, whenever you have a money. If you don't have a money, it is not possible that you can replace the old machinery into the new. And if you are not replace, it may be possible the cost of your product will be high and your margin will be less. So that the corporate finance helps to replace your old asset into the new assets. After a certain period of time, you must change it. And for the changing, you require a finance. The last one, the payment of tax fees. The company has to pay the taxes to the government nowadays. GST, self income tax, VAT. These are the taxes we have to pay to the government on regular basis. Otherwise, government will ban the organization. So, how it is possible? Because of the finance. If you have a finance, you can pay the taxes. You have to pay the fees regularly. If you pay the fees regularly, then your organization is in a working position. Otherwise, the company or maybe the government can ban your organizations. I hope you understand the meaning and definition of a corporate finance, as well as the importance of the corporate finance. This question may be asked for a 4-mark questions. So try to explain in your own words what is meant by the corporate finance and what are the importance of the corporate finance. Thank you very much.